Welcome to the robotics class. Here we discuss about the advanced technologies that are trending in the current scenario as per the current trends in the industry. Here we mainly focus on the skills that are generally needed for the students, for the working professionals, for the graduates to know and prosper in their careers, in their technical life. In this case, in today's session actually, we will be mainly focusing on 3D designing and printing. Now, at the very beginning, before having a word related to the technicalities or the projects that we will be seeing today, we should know how and where the 3D designing and printing finds its role in robotics. It's the robotics session, so I would like to take some moment to discuss about the three aspects of robotics, which are mainly derived from the concepts of the three engineering departments that we know. Computer science and engineering is one of them, which helps us to do the entire coding of the robot, how it will work, how it will react to each of the situations it's facing. Then comes the electrical electronic department, where we know about the circuits, the concepts of wiring, soldering, everything in order to make the wiring, the internal circuitry of the robot is totally done with the concepts of that department. Finally comes mechanical and civil, you can also say. This department gives us some concepts which helps us design the outer covering, let's say the outer structure of the robot. In these departments, we generally know that architectural works, the shapes, the outer structures, these designs are actually taught and made sure the students can create those. So the concepts of these two departments come into play, and we use Autodesk 1 to 3D design in order to create 3D designs. Over here we can also use these same concepts to create the outer covering of the robot. So the robot's outer covering, the internal circuitry and the programming, all these things come into play. All these concepts of these three departments come into play to make sure the entire robotic thing is taught to the students. Our main focus of the session would be just like that only. So in today's session, we would be giving a small overview of the 3D printer that we use, how we power it on, and what are the things that we can do with it, and how a particular design can be given to print. We will be showing you that, and also there will be a small overview of the 3D printer that will be given in this video with all the options, where we need to click on it, what actually option would help us to insert the filament, how we will be using the 3D printer to print the stuff, how we will be actually transforming the design to the 3D printer. All these things will be taken care of. So objective 1, we will be showing the design, how we will be seeing the design, how it is, and how we can make sure it is printable, it can be transferable to the printer and it's printable. Objective 2, we will make sure we know the 3D printer, how to use that. 3, we will be knowing what particular equipment or raw material is used in order to print the design that we are seeing in today's session. And 4, at the end we will be seeing the outcome, how it looks like. Print 5 is the scaling software that we use. So what we will be doing, we have designed a particular model. We will make sure that the scaling is done using this Flash Print 5. Now why we are using Flash Print 5? Flash Print 5 we are using just because we have the printer Adventure 3. The Adventure 3 printer supports this software for scaling. Now you might be thinking why scaling is needed and what it is actually. After a 3D model is designed, we need to do this scale. We need to take it through this scaling procedure, where the entire model is scaled. That means it's made sure that how big it would be, what its size would be. It would be a standard print, a fine print, or a quickly printed model. Based on these settings only, the 3D printer would adjust itself accordingly and would give the output. So we need to do all those things over here, and for any sort of repairment and all, this scaling software is also used. So at the very beginning we will be going to file, and we would be loading the model from wherever it is kept. So we have kept the model in this particular folder we will be clicking on this file. We will be opening it now. So we can see the file, the printed model is present over here. So we are clicking on it, and if we don't need this much of its size, we can go over here in the scale and we can change the dimensions accordingly. So let's say I am decreasing its dimension by, let's say, 20%. So I am writing 80. So accordingly you would see it's X, Y, Z. All the axes would be uniformly scaled down. Now after this, we will be selecting the model again. We will be clicking on start slicing, and over here we will be going through all these specifications. So the fill density would be 10%, that is the thermoplastic material that we would be using. It would be having the density of 10% while it's printing the thing. Print speed we have mentioned over here. These are the default settings. We will be going following that only. Since it's a PLA material, the material type has been selected accordingly. Nozzle size is 0.4 mm. All these have been made sure it has the specifications are mentioned over here, just because we have already selected the printer series over here while the entire flash print software setup was done. So all these default settings are showing over here automatically, and the machine type has been fixed to Adventure 3, whatever we are using. Now over here, standard, fine, fast, these three are the options. So we are going with fast because we are just testing this model, and we are the main objective is to showcase this thing to all of you. So I'm clicking on slice. So the slicing has started over here, and we will be getting the slice report now. So we will click on slice preview, and on the right hand side top corner we can see how much time the model would take to be printed, and the rest is mentioned over here. So what we will be doing, we will be clicking on download, and in this case the pop-up would come. Let's say I am writing test robot, and I am saving it on the desktop. Now the model is saved. I can just close this window. Now over here the scaled model is present. What I'll do, I'll make sure I am transferring it to the pen drive I am using. So it will be transferred to the pen drive, and we will be making sure that is uploaded to the 3D printer. So I'll be returning back while we are transferring the scaled model to the 3D printer. So the pen drive that we are using, we have used that to store the test robot file that we were talking about. Please notify over here the extension is GX. The GX extension would always indicate you that this is the file that we need to print. This is the indication that it's a printable file. The extension is very important, .gx. So now what we will be doing, we will be ejecting the pen drive now, and we will be transferring the model to the 3D printer. So at the very beginning, what we will be doing, we will be using this pen drive where we have stored the scaled model, and we will be putting it into the 3D printer first. So the pen drive is plugged in, and over here as we can see, the 3D printer is showing that the internal storage, the top one, and the pen drive storage is present over there. We are clicking on the pen drive. So our test robot is getting visible. What we would do, we would click on the test robot. There will be multiple options over here. That the first option that we are seeing over here, I like to focus on that. That is the copy. The second one is starting the printing, and the last one is the delete option. Over here what we can see, the name of the model, how much time it would take, and the detail of the material. Before the printing gets started, one more thing that we need to do is we need to attach the material with which the printing will be done. Now in this case we are using the thermoplastic material. As you can see, it looks like this. It's called a filament, and we will have to use this filament inside, we will be attaching it inside the 3D printer, and this filament only will be used in order to print the material, that whatever model we are getting, will be printing in this case. So at the very beginning, we will be attaching this filament with the 3D printer, and for that we have some options over here. At the top we will see build, that means it will be asking you to print the things. Then there is tools, but in case of adding the filament to the 3D printer, we will go to the third option. Over here the options are load, change and manual. Over here, since we are not using any filament right now, we are adding a new filament to it, so we will be going with load. So as you can see, the extruder from which the printing material would come out is actually getting heated. So now what we will be doing, we will be adding the thermoplastic material from this nozzle. This is the nozzle. We are just adding the thermoplastic material. As you can see, it is going through this portion, and just after the heating is done, there will be an option that the extruder is totally heated. We can now then it will become acceptable to take the new filament then. So now the filament is getting taken, as you can see, and it is saying that we need to press OK when new color comes. So we will be opening the 3D printer glass now. We would wait for the extruder to emit yellow filament. So now I would like to show you that yellow filament is coming. So the next thing that we will be doing is we will be pressing OK. Now our filament is set. As you can see, our model is ready. What we will be doing, we will be clicking on build now. So we will be clicking on build. After build, we have the pen drive with us. We will be clicking on test robot. We will be clicking on build. So the printing has started, and now you will be seeing the extruder adjust itself, and the printing would be initiated automatically. So as you can see, the model's printing has been successfully completed. So now I'll make sure that the output is visible properly. Yes, so after it's done, the system shows like this, that the build complete, and we can now take the model out of the 3D printer. So that's how the result is looking like. We have printed a robot sitting back in a resting position. We have printed it by using the concepts of 3D designing and printing. So we will be again back with another 3D printing model in the next session, and I hope the session was well liked. Thank you.